Angie, and welcome to my podcast, Chaotic Harmony. Recently, I was listening to one of Theo Von's podcasts. He had said something that I found very interesting. It goes like this: when life hands you a bowl of chili, put a little pickle in it. Well, Theo Von's podcast episode continued to play in the background. I kind of found myself staring out my passenger side window as my mind went into overdrive. I was thinking about that new batch of chili that we were handed. Clearly, the latest chili that was served to us was the stage 3 colon cancer diagnosis my husband, Tony, had recently been diagnosed with. So that must mean that all of the hurdles that come with that are the pickles, right? I'm talking the surgeries, the colostomy bag and the maintenance that goes with that, the change in his diabetic care, all of the doctor's appointments that we go to, the chemo, and the list goes on. But I'm pretty sure that Theo Von meant something completely different. I'm assuming he meant be different, stand out, add some character, be bold. Most of all, make life interesting. Like I said, I'm just assuming. Now, I'm sure I dug way too deep into that silly quote, to be honest. But it hit me. And when it did, I couldn't stop laughing. My life has been and always will be full of fucking pickles. And one thing I've learned over the past few months is our current bowl of chili will never stop us from being ourselves. We will always laugh and joke around. And most of the time, it will be done at the most inappropriate time or place. But that's how we roll, baby. Swinging pickles everywhere. Making Theo Von proud without even realizing it. Shortly after Tony got home from the hospital, he wanted to go visit an old friend named Matt that he had lost contact with. Now, mind you, this Matt says they're best of friends, and we've been together for a very long time, and I've never met Matt. So I don't know how guys classify friendships as, but clearly they are best of friends. Anyway, I didn't want to go. And honestly, I really did need some time to myself because everything had just happened. And, my mind just could not stop going and going and going. And Tony just needed to be around a little bit more of a positive environment than what I was giving him. So he grabbed a couple beers, got the keys, gave me a kiss. I grabbed my laptop, blanket, and remote controls of the TV, and we parted ways. Well, a lot of time had passed by, and I eventually got a message from Tony saying that, hey, you know what? I'm still here, but I'm going to be leaving shortly. And I thought, wow, this is a change. This man never says he's coming back home shortly. Like, wow, maybe this diagnosis really did change his outlook on life, right? He's never done that before. But then more time had passed. And then I started actually trying to call him because, hey, you just said you were on your way home soon. And it's been a couple hours. Yeah, my guy did not answer the phone. He did not answer the text messages, listen to the voicemails. Nada. My guy did not change. Not one bit. But then he must have gotten a little bit more spirited because then the phone eventually went through. The call went through. And it was not him that answered the call. It was somebody else. It was Matt, his best buddy. Tony happened to be drunk. Gee golly, didn't see that coming. And I just wanted him home safe. And I kept stressing to this best friend of his that I really needed Tony to be home because we had enough on our plates. And I honestly didn't know how beer was going to affect anything in his system. But I truly, genuinely just wanted my husband home. Enough was enough. I want him home safe. I don't want him on the, in the ditch, whatever. Matt understood the assignment, and an hour or so later, I heard our Jeep pull in. Matt brought him home, by the way. Next morning, Tony was awake before I was, and I don't even know how, but he was like busy doing something outside by our Jeep. And before I could even speak, he came into our room just reeking of gasoline. I mean, just reeking of it. And I don't know if it's me. Tony says it's me, but my sense of smell is really strong. And so the gasoline, it almost smelled like he had just poured a whole bunch on himself. And then I heard the little backstory. So that night before, when he was getting spirited with his best buddy, he had mentioned that he really liked this gas can that was there, a jerry can or whatever, because it looked so cool. It was a so cool looking 5-gallon whatever. And he had jokingly told Matt that he was going to take it. And Matt didn't, obviously, I mean, best friends, they should know. He should know how Tony is, but he didn't. So Tony took that with him, put it in the Jeep, and Matt drove Tony home with it in the back, not realizing it. And my guys, the damn thing dumped and spilt all over our Jeep. So Tony was trying to fix the situation before Mama Bear of me got out and saw my Jeep full of freaking gasoline. He ended up vacuuming. He took the seats out. He used a concoction of baking soda, vinegar, and water, whatever. Got some neutralizing bombs. Even went to the auto shops looking for something to get rid of that damn smell. And he also, just to make me feel better, put Febreze clips in there. Now, that joke Tony thought he was pulling off truly did backfire. That super cool looking gas can was brought back to the owner along with an extra $20 to make up for the loss of gasoline. And guess what? Our damn Jeep still to this day reeks of gasoline. Yeah. The Febreze clips I got rid of because there's no point. There's no point. A few days later, and many additional attempts to get rid of the gas can or gas smell later, Tony was scheduled for a minor surgery. He needed to get a port placed under his skin on his left side of his chest. It would run up to the left side of his neck to his main artery, making it a lot easier to go through chemotherapy. Because of his beautiful singing skills that he had the first time around when he had surgery, that emergency surgery, when he woke up and looked to one side and looked to another and started singing "It's Not Gay If It's in a Three-Way," one of my favorite songs from Saturday Night Live. I thought I would joke around and kind of plant a seed in his brain, come up with some other messed up song for him, and quite possibly, he could come out of anesthesia and sing that song. So the first song that popped into my mind was, yes, another Saturday Night Live song, "Dick in a Box." Who doesn't like that song? So I kept singing it throughout the last couple days, like a couple days before his surgery and the whole morning before surgery. And the surgery went well. The nurses came and got me out of the waiting room, and he was slowly starting to come out of the anesthesia and was demanding food. Now, I kind of was just trying to see I didn't want to get him to purposely do it. I just wanted to see if it would naturally come out, if that seed was truly planted. And so the nurse had left to get him some snacks, and he grabbed a cup of water to take a sip out of it. And then he placed the cup near his penis and looked at me and said, "Dick in a cup?" Yes. I was laughing so hard when the nurse came in because all of a sudden he grabs the applesauce that's on that freaking tray and he puts it near his junk and says, "Dick in applesauce." Although it wasn't a dick in a box, It was amazing. It was honestly better in my eyes. But I almost forgot the best part here, guys. He was told he could get up and get dressed while the nurse went to get his discharge information. He was ready to get the hell out of there. So as soon as he could, he quickly stood up. And he was getting everything ready so we could leave. I'm geeking. I'm geeking the whole time because he's still like half singing Dick in a Cup. But then all of a sudden I look over and he's because I was grabbing his stuff and he was standing there tall and beautiful in his hospital gown with his dick out in the open, swinging his hips while singing Helicopter Dick. His dick was flopping all over the damn place. I thought I was going to piss myself. I even tried telling me it would work better. Like, hon, it'll work better if it's half hard. No, it won't. Yeah, it will. It'll work. I was hoping that would end quickly before the nurse came in, and whew, it did. Missed her by a second. Well, she missed it by a second, actually. So, yeah. That seed was planted, and it grew way, way better than I had ever imagined. The very next day, we were notified that we received a donation on our online campaign that was created to help us with medical bills and literally everything. The donation that came in was from a couple named Carrie and Danny. Danny happened to have grown up with Tony, and they hadn't seen each other in a long time. They didn't consider themselves like best friends like Matt and Tony, but they considered themselves family. Mind you, again, I've been in this guy's life for a very long time, never met Danny, but that doesn't matter. Like family, I can understand that. I don't talk to my family. I get it. Either way, Tony wanted to go and visit Danny and catch up and say thank you. I also believe it was another way for him to get out of the house because this guy is bored out of his mind. He went from constantly like working and having a routine of coming home, being fed, go to sleep, working, going home, being fed, go to sleep. And now he doesn't have that. Now it's like chaotic. So yeah, he needed to get the hell out of the house. This man ain't built for staying still. So Tony was doing great as far as the healing from this, like the port surgery the day before, and his birthday was coming up. So I didn't see any harm in going to Danny's. And besides, as much as I'd love to say I wear the pants, I don't. No matter what I say, Tony's going to do it anyway. So I could see no harm in it. And I could see harm in it. It wouldn't fucking matter. He'd still do it anyways. Just throwing that out there. So I am not his keeper is what I'm saying. Now, Danny, actually, like we got a hold of him and he did invite us over to hang out at his shop. So we sat around in this awesome looking shop with Danny and his wife, Carrie, along with a mutual friend of ours that we call Rat. To be honest, I don't know Rat's actual name, but his nickname is very fitting. If you just imagine a rat, that's what he looks like. But a little hippie-ish. But he doesn't like that. He does not like being called a hippie. Just throw that out there also. But either way, so we're all sitting there and the conversation is flowing. It is great. I'm having fun. Tony looked like he was having fun. I got to hear some stories of their childhood that they had together that I have either heard once or never heard. And I was just geeking out because I'm trying to imagine my husband being little doing this stupid shit. It was hilarious. Then Tony started to get a little bit more spirited and animated as time went on. And then all of a sudden we're all sitting there and we're joking around. I make a lot of jokes about Tony, like, he's an asshole. I've always been saying that. So that's why he's got 2 assholes. Bless his heart. You know, I've always, because that's the way I cope with things. I make jokes at inappropriate times and places. But these guys understood the assignment. They were fucking with him too. But then Tony, as he got more animated and spirited, was like, no, guys, you got to check it out. So he started to show off his stomach. Now, he wears a belt that holds the ostomy bag in place. Thank the Lord for that. And he was like, no, guys, see, look it. It's no big deal. And he's like, he's standing up. Look it. And then he goes to take the belt off, and Rat, mind, like I said, Rat, picture a rat, and then imagine it as a guy. And that's Rat. And I love Rat. So I'm not making fun of him. I'm just saying that's exactly what you would expect. So Rat's like, dude, sit down. I don't want to see that. And he's like half gagging. And Tony starts to unzip the bottom of the belt to show him that it's no big deal. My bag, my shit bag, it's not clear. You can't see through it. And Rat's like, no, I don't want to see it. And we're all like, dude, I'm looking over at him, being the mom that I am to him. Babe, put the bag back. Like, no one cares. Just put it back. And he's like, no, look at it. It's empty. Guess what, guys? We never asked if it was empty. We never cared. We just wanted it back in the belt. And he did not care. He was not listening. Tony was just like, guys, come on. And literally, Rat was sitting there. Tony, Schultz, I'm begging you, stop. Just stop. I knew Tony was too spirited to listen to me. So I literally sat back and watched all of this unfold. Tony had lifted the back of his bag, saying, see, it's not see-through. All of a sudden, I'm not looking at Tony. I'm looking at Rat, because Rat looked terrified. He looked so terrified. And then all of a sudden, I hear Tony go, see, it's no big deal. It's empty. And then Rat let out the loudest gag that I've ever heard. And then I saw Carrie run past us. And I'm like, what the fuck? I look over, and there's my husband standing there with his bag in his hand. And it is dripping shit out everywhere. And shit is coming out of his new butthole. He cleared out the entire shop. And honestly, there was shit everywhere. Shit on his pants, on the floor, everywhere. The caregiver / mom role of mine kicked in. And I proceeded to help him clean up as much as possible, reattaching the bag and cleaning up the shop floor. Now, I'm not gonna lie here. Did I make it easy on Tony? Hell no. I was bitching at him like a mom would, because I told him not to play with it. And then he played with it and he fucked around and found out. And now I'm cleaning the mess up. So I was giving him attitude like, dude, why'd you have to freaking do this? You know, you made Rat, of all people. Rat was gagging. And you don't want to even know what Rat's house looks like. He shouldn't be gagging. So yeah, I did not make it easy. But either way, Tony's little charade there of like, and the worst part is right before it happened, literally right before it happened, he was joking around how he could be a gorilla or a monkey or whatever and use his shit as a weapon. And he was going to open the bottom of his bag and like throw shit at people. And then this happened. I forgot to add that. So it was crazy how he was like, yeah, guys, I'm going to do this. And then the bag is dripped out and everybody was gone. It was just him and I in that empty shop. So yeah, he was a gorilla, baby. You were a gorilla. You were. You did it. But you know what, guys? It was a shit show. It really was. But I hate to say it. Shit happens, you know? The worst part, though, is it was kind of embarrassing. Like, not so much for me. I would assume Tony would be, you know, more embarrassed because it was his new butthole they were all looking at. If they even got to look at it, because there was shit everywhere. But either way, he was embarrassed the next morning. Like, God, I embarrassed myself. But no one got a hold of Danny. So it was amazing that we were talking about how, like, embarrassing it was. And then all of a sudden, Danny messages Tony with some meme of Joe Dirt saying, I got poo on me. That message, for some reason, fixed whatever had happened. It did. Yeah. Made it less embarrassing, I think. Kinda. I don't know. But it just goes to show that that's the kind of guy I would like to hang out with, because he took something super embarrassing that happened to us at his place and was like, hey guys, don't worry about it. I got poo everywhere. Whatever. He was adding a little pickle to his chili. A few days after that shitty experience, we celebrated Tony's 45th birthday. Because of all of the chaos in our lives lately, whether it be the actual diagnosis or all the experiences Tony's been putting us through. But either way, the lack of funds, we spent the day mostly chilling at home. And it was so nice. It was so refreshing to just stay at home. But the only time we left the house that day was when we were offered a free meal. Can't say no to that, especially these days. His sister, Jolene, and her little family wanted to meet up at a restaurant to celebrate Tony. I love, and I mean love, getting together with them for many reasons. But my all-time favorite reason is, well, his sister is a female version of him. She is the only person I have ever witnessed almost put my husband in his place. And I mean almost. It's like they bicker back and forth like they're fighting in a mirror. That's all. They're so much alike. He would say differently, but he's not here. He's outside doing his little thing, and it's my podcast, so I'll say whatever I want. Anyways, Jolene is a nurse, so when she asks medical questions and gets an answer she finds a little sus, she calls it out. For example, Monster coffee drink that he drinks brings his blood sugar down. Yeah, buddy. Just like those donuts that I call weight loss donuts. Yeah, they really help me lose weight. He ends up getting they're heated in this restaurant where he shows this app on his phone that is connected to his blood glucose monitor. And then he starts just preaching his case to her while my nephew and future brother-in-law sit there nervously laughing with each other, looking at each other like, are you seeing this shit? Do you see this? This is bad. Okay. I'm not sure how it ended. Actually, I'm not sure it did end because she ended up sending a long text message after we left to him with some like, look at this, look at this, look at this. You're wrong. Either way, we enjoyed our time with them and went home to relax. I say we, but I really enjoyed watching the vein on the side of Tony's forehead pulse when he was preaching his case to Jolene. Oh, it was funny. She's like, no, that's not how that works. He's like, yes, it is. I have proof right here. The very next day, right after his birthday, March 28th, was his day to start his chemotherapy journey. They wanted to start it on his birthday, but we decided that wouldn't really be a good idea for his birthday present. That was a heavy day. It really was. To him, just another day. I love Tony for many reasons. Many. And if you can hear it, he's in the background screwing something to the outside of our house. Thank you, honey, for showing your presence. But anyways, I love him for many reasons, but sometimes it frustrates me when he doesn't seem to be fazed by something that most people would find troubling. It just baffles me. Starting chemotherapy would be one of those times, but I also love the fact that he lives life like this because it seems so much easier than worrying all the damn time like I do. So we got him checked it all in to the front office, and we sat down near the lab area, and their chairs there are like super comfy. I want to take one home, but I know they'd probably notice me walking out with it. Whatever. I'm pretty sure Tony could tell that I was super nervous that day. Not to mention the fact that I was saying it, but when you sit down in that chair, you get all comfy, and then you see sick people everywhere, it's overwhelming. Overwhelming, because I'm like, oh my God, this is the start of today is what he might look like that very soon. Very, very scary. When I am like, then his name is called out. This was officially happening. I could talk to anyone and everyone about his diagnosis, his hospital stays, like his procedures, what I do each day and to help him, his future appointments, all of that. But talking about it out loud didn't make it feel real. That nurse calling out his name that day and me knowing why we were there, that made it real. He was starting the fight against cancer. This is it. Tony got up, walked towards the nurse as I sunk more into my chair, clutching my overly packed purse and very large backpack, wishing I could close my eyes and make all of this disappear. I sat there like that for a while, and by the time I opened my eyes, he had returned, back in the chair next to me. He looked at me and knew I was in my head. We have been together long enough to read each other. Scratch that. We have been together long enough for him to be able to read me like the back of his hand. He knew I was hurting more than him. So what does he do? He throws a little pickle in there. He looks at me and goes, hey, I had to stimulate the nurse's nipples in order for her to get my port working. And I just stared at him for a hot second like, what? And then I started laughing hysterically. And then he just went on with it. He's like, yeah, and she had to do the same to my nipples. Yeah, okay, buddy. Okay. But the scared and sad and worry and the fear, all of that went away for a bit. Because I truly pictured him trying to stimulate her nipples and her stimulating his. So I needed that. But it didn't last long, though, because his name was called yet again by a different nurse. And that was officially it. We both got up, made our way to the door, and a few minutes later, he was hooked up to his first round of chemotherapy. For some reason, whenever I feel overwhelmed or something close to that, I tend to shut people out. They can be right in my face, whatever, spewing their shit, whatever. It won't matter. My brain will not process whatever is being said or done. It's not a good trait to have, especially when it came to the chemotherapy day. My husband was going to be going home with a chemo port, and it was going to be running for about 46-ish hours. And then he would, once it beeped and everything, it had to be shut down, and then the IV needle needed to be removed from his chest, like his port area. We didn't want to go back to the hospital to unhook him and all that crap. And I mean, the less people, the better is the way we look at it. So I needed to be shown how to do this step by step. Wait, what? I was going to be doing it? Watching the nurse do all of the steps. Yeah, it was fine. I could watch her for days, whatever. But my brain had her on mute. I was nodding as she's talking, and every once in a while, I could hear myself go, okay, yep, okay, yep. I didn't understand what the fuck she was saying. I wasn't paying attention, and I should have been. But then I had to show her that I understood. I didn't, but apparently I did the right motions because she said, okay, you can do it. I somehow got the okay to mess with his main artery. No big deal. No big deal. I can figure it out later. And then Sunday rolled around and that freaking thing beeped. And I'm like, oh crap. This is the time. Now, I'd like to say that I did not sleep the Saturday before this because I kept looking at him going, I'm going to probably make him bleed out because I didn't hear a damn thing she said. I watched a few things on YouTube. Yeah, I replayed her demonstration in my head like over 1,000 times. But the thing is, I didn't hear her words. I just saw her actions. Easy peasy, right? I got this. At least I saw the actions, right? Yeah. I'm still wishing my brain wouldn't have shut down the way it did. I was not confident on it at all. I decided the best way for me was to do a dry run, So I pulled my phone out and slowly talked my way through it while recording all of it. And I did post that on my Facebook. The entire time, Tony seemed a bit worried, and he should have been. He should have been. I was going to be messing with his main artery, and I didn't know. I was still training myself, and I sure as hell didn't want to fuck his port up or kill him. I didn't want to kill him. I've been trying to keep him alive here, guys. I really have. I'm glad I did that dry run, though, because when it came time to actually, unhook him, I was a bit more confident than I was prior to that. And I'm just going to say it and stress this, a bit more confident. So when it came time, I stopped breathing as soon as I went to yank the needle from his chest, counted down in my head, and bam, the needle was in one hand, and I relearned how to breathe. Tony looked just as relieved as I was, if not more. Moral of that story is, I need to stop nodding my head saying, yeah, okay, yeah, I got it. It's not a very helpful trait at all. And it doesn't look good. I'm watching myself in the mirror right now. It don't look good when I do that. Tony didn't experience any side effects from the first round of chemotherapy, and I'm hoping it stays that way. We both are. He starts his second round in a few days, so I guess we shall see. So this goes to where I find myself ending this episode, exactly how I started it. When life hands you a bowl of chili, put a little pickle in it. It tends to make life more interesting, even in the darkest of times. Yeah, I think. Anyway, I don't know. Who knows, right? Thank you for tuning in to my podcast. It means the world to me. It truly does. You guys are my therapy. If you haven't already, go and check out my Facebook page. Give her a like. If you would like to support my podcast, you can click on the support the show link and go from there. And if you would like to donate to our family during this difficult time, there is a campaign posted on the Facebook page as well. Last but not least, go out there and put a little pickle in your chili. Or one better, embrace the weird and make normal feel boring. Bye.